Mm-hmm. Yes. And welcome to tonight's Board of Appeals hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce some members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Paul Hennings, counsel to the board. To his left is David Flynn, assistant planning director. To his left is Tom O'Brien, a planner in the planning department. Now let me tell you why you're here tonight. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a Board of Appeals to act as a relief valve so that those persons aggrieved by strict application of the zoning ordinance can seek relief without the expense of going to court. Town board can give Board of Appeals additional powers, such as special exception approvals, site plan approvals, etc. In Smithtown, the town board has given this board authority regarding certificate of existing use and some special exception applications. The most common kind of application before the board are area variances. Area variants deal with dimensions, such as lot area, frontage, height, setbacks, and parking spaces. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following 5 criteria in area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, you need to address these 5 areas. They're posted here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. The statute requires the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. This statute further requires that the board shall grant the minimum variance it shall deem necessary and adequate, and at the same time preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions for granting variances. Special exception variants are different than area variances. When we have a special exception application before us, I will explain the different criteria. Regarding procedure, cases will be called in order that they are advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and mailing receipts to Mr. O'Brien, and then you will be sworn in at the podium. You will be given the opportunity to explain to this board why you need the variance. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. So please, organize your thoughts, keep your remarks factual that are related to the case. Then I will ask the applicant to come forward back to the podium to answer your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all the hearings are closed, the board will review the cases and decide some of them. Others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out the results of the case. Number 1, you can wait until after the public hearing, but there's no guarantee the board will act on your case tonight. Number 2, you can call the planning department tomorrow afternoon. And number 3, applicants can wait and be notified by mail. We do have one adjournment, so let me tell you what that is. Case 16795, KPE 2 LLC. Its location Old Northport Road and Kings Park Road is adjourned to November 13th. Was there anyone here for that case? Okay. Mr. O'Brien, I'll ask you to, Mr. Flynn, I'll ask you to read the cases.
Okay. The first case this evening is case 16,784, John Metz, 8 Parsons Drive, Stony Brook, New York. Location, west side of Rainbow Drive, 200 feet north of Bow Drive, Hauppauge. Property zoned R15. Request, variance to reduce minimum rear yard setback from 60 feet to 55 feet for an existing 280 square foot first floor addition. Reduce minimum rear yard setback from 60 feet to 56 feet for an existing 432 square foot deck. Permit environmentally sensitive lands to be altered where the depth to groundwater is is equal to or less than 10 feet.
May I have your name, please?
Janet Haberly here on behalf of Mr. Metz. Counsel has been given a power of attorney.
All right, and your address?
2 Plaintree Lane, St. James, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
Sure. We're here this evening to request 2 very minor rear yard setback variances along with an environmentally sensitive land variance. We're short 5 feet for the addition in the rear and 4 feet for the deck, where 60 are required, so we have 55 and 56 respectively. This residence is Mr. Metz's family home, where his parents purchased it as the original owners in 1963. He and his brothers grew up there. Both of the structures in question here were built approximately 2 years later, around 1965, so they've been there a very long time. The lot is heavily treed. You can barely even see the houses that abut their rear yard, as shown in the photographs I just submitted. The addition to the rear of the house, which is used as the den, was built flush to the existing side of the house, so there is no encroachment into the side yard. Regarding the depth to the groundwater, we had a soil bearing done, which was hitting water at about 7 feet. A copy of that test boring results were submitted with this application to the planning department. I would like to know if CEQA has been determined as yet.
There has, and it's a type 2.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're about 3 feet short. Where you need 10 feet down, we're 3 feet short on that. Regarding the 5 proofs, we don't believe there's any undesirable negative impact on the neighbors due to the foliage of like 40 years and the size of the lots. Number 2, the requests are by no means substantial. We're only short a few feet on each item. Regarding alternatives, both of the structures are existing. They are kept very nicely. Their addition to the house is all vinyl sided the same. It's very nice looking. What else? Oh, this obviously is a self-created hardship. And lastly, we don't believe there's any really negative impact environmentally. I know we have the short, only 7 feet to groundwater, but there's never been any flooding there in all these years, and these structures have been here for 40 years. And we thank the board for its consideration.
Okay. Planning? Gentlemen,
No comment.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16785, John and Dawn Selmieri, 20 Kim Avenue, Hauppauge, New York. Location, west side of Kim Avenue, 328 feet south of Tower Place, Hauppauge. Property zoned R15. Request variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 60 feet to 33 feet for an existing 567 square foot deck. Decrease the minimum distance from any lot line from 8 feet to 0 feet for an existing 875 square foot deck around an in-ground pool.
Okay. May I have your name, please?
Dawn Salmeri,
And your address, Dawn?
20 Kim Avenue, Smithtown, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
The reason we're here is my husband and I were here to apply for a variance for 2 decks, existing decks that's on the property. We just purchased a home about a year ago, and I have no idea how long the deck's been there. They've been in existence, as you could see with the pictures, and this is all new to me, so I'm just going through the motion and filling out whatever paperwork has to be done and trying to apply and do the right thing. As far as these decks having any kind of effect on any one of our neighbors, I don't see how. It's located at the rear of our property. There is absolutely no one in the back of us. It's the nature preserve. It's bordering the nature preserve. There's absolutely no one there. You saw, you know.
Okay. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that your fence, and part of that deck is on Suffolk County land. And you cannot leave it on Suffolk County land, and it has to be moved in. I'm not sure how much it has to be moved, and do we have planning? Do we have any?
It says 3.5 feet.
Okay. So I hope you have money in escrow, because you're going to have to move it in that 3.5 feet.
Okay,
And part of that deck also has to be on your property,
okay.
okay? Planning, is there anything else you want to add?
No, thank you.
Gentlemen? All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That doesn't mean that, everything else will be approved, but I'm just telling you, all right, that has to be moved in.
Okay.
Okay?
What is the time frame?
They have about, what?
That's something that building works out. Building's not here tonight.
Okay,
I don't know how long it usually
yeah.
takes.
Once we make a decision, you take that decision over to the building department, and they'll work with you there.
All righty.
All right?
And you've already made the decision?
We haven't made a decision.
You haven't?
No, and it will be later tonight, so I
Or
would tell
tomorrow.
you.
I
Yeah,
could
I
call
would call tomorrow.
Thank you kindly.
You're very
Have a
welcome.
good night.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's readily moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next case is 16786, Joe Powell Realty, Mills Pond Nursing Center, 273 Moriches Road, St. James, New York. Location, northeast corner of Moriches Road and Kensington Way, St. James. Property zoned R43. Request variance to reduce the minimum parking from 340 to 249 spaces. Increase maximum gross floor area of lot from 20% to 33%. Madam Chair, one thing that I think the increase tonight is not from 20 to 33 in a way. I think it's only like 1.5%. They're just enclosing, I believe it's 6 balconies. Normally, the public notice, the way we usually word it,
Yeah.
tells you what's the existing percent.
Okay. So are you saying to me it's going from 20% to,
Well, legally, I think it's going from 20 to 33, but it's already at probably 31 or 32 right now.
okay, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. As you probably know, the facility was formerly known as the St. James Nursing Home. It's now known as the Mills Pond Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. And what we want to do is enclose the porches that are on each level of the facility, which extend the common area rooms where people congregate, have recreational times and talk to each other, etc. And by closing it in, we've generated 2 monster variances here. One is we've had to increase the parking spaces really by 4, because you did give us a variance some years ago from 340 to 249. We're really only increasing it by 4 parking spaces, which are generated by the enclosures of those porticos. The FAR is de minimis, as David already indicated, and the FAR is generated by the fact that we're adding a total of 864 square feet to the entire facility. So we ask the board for its favorable consideration. We don't think that it'll make any kind of a change in the character of the area. The nursing home has been there for many years. Whether the relief sought could be accomplished by some other method, I guess we don't have to enclose those porticos, but it's really for the people, the residents of the home, to get further enjoyment by having a little bit more space on those verandas, which are very seldom used as they exist now. Is the variance substantial? Well, you see what we're asking for. whether the proposed variance will have any environmental effect on the neighborhood. We're not increasing the facility by asking for more beds or more residents. It's just to make it better for the residents. Was the alleged difficulty self-created? No, we haven't done anything yet, but we're asking this board for their favorable consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning, anything else?
You should just know that this is a special exception use, and the town board approved the special exception a few months ago.
Gentlemen, anything else?
No question.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16787, and I apologize for not pronouncing the name right. Alfred and Dawn Avitabili, 7 Crossbow Court, Commack, New York. Location, north side of Crossbow Court, 258 feet east of Crossbow Lane, Commack. Property zoned R21. Request variance to reduce minimum rear yard setback from 75 feet to 52 feet for an existing 500 square foot deck.
Good evening.
May I have your name, please?
Richard Tripakowski. I'm representing the applicant, Dawn Avidable.
Are you
Yes,
the
she is.
applicant?
Right.
I need you first. Thank you. Let me have your name and your address.
Dawn Avidable, 7 Crossbow Court, Comac.
Okay? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
All right. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask you to give me your name, and you're going to have to spell your last name for me.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's Richard Tripakowski, Trpicovsky. Address is 173 North Main Street, Sayville, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I do have a few items I'd like to hand over to the board, if I may.
You may give them to me. Thank you. I'll pass these down, and you can go ahead.
Thank you. This parcel is on a cul-de-sac and is pie-shaped, which places the home a little further back than most of the homes on that property, giving it a smaller rear yard than others in the subdivision. The property is on a natural slope upward from the rear of the home. The original home plans show a deck on the rear of the house, which we're having a difficult time picking up on the CO. But seemingly along the way, somewhere, someone increased the size of the deck that was original to the house to meet the slope of the property. The majority of the, so basically the natural grade, the rear deck, while it's 6 foot at the house, is pretty much at grade to the majority of the rear yard. So if you're standing on the deck, it would appear that you're on grade, as opposed to when we're actually asking for 6 foot. The 6 foot is at the house, which is where the original deck was to allow access from the rear door out to the rear yard.
Planning? Is there anything else? No. Planning? Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay. I am going to hand you back these pictures because we have them, we don't need them.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Is regularly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16,788, Kevin Fox, 3 School Court, Shoreham, New York. Location, northwest corner of Dorothy Lane and Boxwood Drive, Kings Park. This property zoned R10. Request, variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 46 feet for a 379 square foot first floor addition existing. Decrease the minimum distance from the existing swimming pool to the principal building from 10 feet to 8 feet.
Are you Kevin? We need all your receipts and your affidavits of posting and. Okay, let me have your name, please.
My name is Kevin Fox, and my home is located at 3 School Court in Shoreham. The property in question is at 2 Dorothy Lane in Kings Park. It was placed in a trust by my parents.
Excuse me. Okay,
I'm sorry.
all right. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, now you can go.
Okay. The house was placed in a trust by my parents, who were in their late 70s. It has since come to light that both the in-ground pool and the one-story addition on the west side were never permitted. Both of these structures have been in existence since the mid-70s, and to my knowledge, there has never been any complaints or issues from any neighbors regarding these items. Addressing the 5 factors, there will definitely not be an undesirable change in the nature and character of the neighborhood due to the granting of these variances. As I stated, the structures have been in existence for over 35 years, and the nature and character of the neighborhood has already been established. There is no other method to explore other than coming in front of this board, as again, the structures are existing and have existed for over 35 years. I feel the rear yard variance is not substantial, and as we are only requesting relief of less than 4 feet, less than 8% of the variance, from 50 feet to 46.2 feet. Regarding the distance from the pool to the dwelling, again, we are only requesting 2 feet of relief, from 10 foot to 8 foot. I would like to note again that the location of the pool has never, in over 35 years, posed any safety issues. In addition, I believe if you look at this particular neighborhood, you would find that these minor variances are not uncommon. The proposed variance will not have any adverse impacts on the physical or environmental conditions of this neighborhood, as they have already existed for over 35 years with no issues or impact on the community. This difficulty definitely was not self-created, as I have possession of the house in trust for my parents, not realizing at the time that there were no COs in place for the existing structures. This concludes my presentation to the board, and I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration, and I would respectfully request that the board consider granting these 2 variances.
All right. You have to understand that it is self-created because it was there. And as I tell everyone, just because it's existing, that doesn't mean this board is going to approve it. You understand that?
I understand.
Okay. Planning?
Just a thought perhaps for the board. The granting this variance would not most likely undermine the will of the town board in establishing the setback for 2 reasons. One is the 46 feet is kind of at a point. The side of the property is not perpendicular. I'm sorry, it's not parallel to that lot line. And then secondly, the strange shape of the property contributes to the hardship a little bit. If this property had been platted and that strange dog leg in the back had been spread more evenly over the back of the property, there'd be no need for a variance.
Okay. Gentlemen, anything?
No question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Second?
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16,789, Thomas Riley, 54 Valleywood Road, Commack, New York. Location, east side of Valleywood Road, 496 feet north of Veterans Memorial Highway, Commack. Property zoned R10. Request, variance to reduce minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 29 feet and reduce minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 48 feet for proposed additions and vestibule. Reduce minimum side yard setback from 12 feet to 2 feet for an existing 81 square foot shed, and increase the maximum floor area ratio of the lot from 25% to 27%.
May I have your name, please?
Thomas Riley,
And your address, Thomas?
54 Valleywood Road, Comac.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
Sure, requesting a variance for a two-story addition off the side of my home. First story would be a garage and a TV room. Second story would be bedrooms, netting out an additional bedroom and bathroom for the home. I'm also here on the other side of our home is a shed. The shed is pre-existing, and it is on the side of my home. Currently, that shed has hedges behind it, blocking it from the neighbor on that side. There's really no other place to put this shed on my property due to the uniqueness of the property, and that gets me into the 5 points here. So the property is on a turn. The road has a large radius. It's sort of an S around the side of my property here. Front yard variances have been granted to others in the area as well. The second point, the variance of the front yard at the corners of the addition come out to what you see on the illustrations there. However, if you would use a protractor and it's only the right size, about 75% of the addition would still fall within the 40-foot. It's only the 25% that would fall out of it. It's just 2 points that come out. The site slopes. It's on a hill, comes down, making it very difficult to do this extension or shed anywhere else on the property. The addition does not decrease or restrict vehicle visibility coming around the turn. Today there's a huge oak tree. This extension will be to the right side of that oak tree and won't change the visibility coming around the turn. And finally, location of the house was built on the site. When the house was originally built, it was the last house in the block, and the town gave up some of the park to sort of connect the street to the development behind us that produced this weird turn.
Okay. Planning?
Nothing, thank you.
Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
It has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16790, Maureen Morse, 67 Croft Lane, Smithtown, New York. Location, east side of Croft Lane, 851 feet south of Creek Road, Smithtown. Property zoned R43. Request, variance to reduce minimum side yard setback from 24 feet to 14 feet existing. Reduce minimum side yard from 24 feet to 20 feet existing, and total side yards from 60 feet to 34 feet for a proposed 208 square foot first floor addition, 738 square foot second floor addition, and 374 square foot garage addition.
May I have your name, please?
Tracy Rivera, agent for the applicant. Council has power of attorney.
It's fine? Okay. Let me have your address, please.
P.O. Box 636, Meriches, New York, 11955.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the Board of Appeals. I'm here as the agent representing Mrs. Morse. The property is an R43 zone, which this subject parcel does not meet the minimum lot frontage at 150 feet, which is why we're here before the board this evening. We have a lot frontage of 100.47. The parcel is already at a 33% less advantage on meeting any requirements for minimum side yards and total side yards. We currently have an application before the DEC. It's ID number 1-4734-02343/0001, and are anxiously awaiting the approval, as I've been informed that it will be approved any day. We will not need any Suffolk County Board of Health applications. We're currently before this board this evening for the request for minimum and total side yards for interior alterations, a first floor addition of 632 square feet, and a second floor of 738 square feet. The existing side yards are the minimum, and they're existing. In black and white, we're here before the board today for basically a 3-foot side yard encroachment, if you look at the site plan. We're looking to convert the existing garage. We're looking to add a garage in front of the existing garage. There'll be no front yard setback issues. Mrs. Morse has a developmentally challenged young child and needs to accommodate the home for the child. You can tell by the pictures I've submitted to the board that the house definitely needs some repairs. It was upon getting estimates for the repairs that they realized that why not do the work that they planned on wanting to do in the future while they were doing the repairs. I know going before the board, you like to see precedents that are made in the area, so I was able to give two Board of Appeals that were approved. It's 72 Croft on 9/23/98, application 12496, where a 3-foot side yard was granted to attach a 2-car garage to a house, which made the existing side yard 3 feet, much greater than what we're looking for. 37 Croft on 12/21/99, that was case number 2891 for a minimum side yard of 13 and total from 60 to 47. And then they were back before the board for almost a 1,700 square foot addition. The pictures I submitted are of the parcels and the area of the parcels of the properties I just spoke of, pictures of the house. Not a negative impact, definitely within harmony, not self-created, it's proposed. Any questions?
I don't think so. Plenty? Gentlemen?
No questions.
Okay. I don't think we need 4 copies of this.
I wasn't sure. I'd rather be overprepared than underprepared.
Okay. So let
Other
me-
towns want pictures for everybody, so I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Okay, let her take some of these pictures back.
Okay, cool.
Right. Okay. This goes here. All right. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Is ready moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Good night.
The next case is 16,791. Michael and Mary Anscat, 29 Glenwood Drive, Hop Hog, New York. Location, north side of Glenwood Drive, 156 feet east of Gatewood Drive, Hop Hog. Property zoned R15. Request, variance to reduce minimum front yard setback from 45 feet to 40 feet for a proposed 70 square foot addition and front platform.
Okay. You're going to need to take that mic out, okay? Just take it right out of the thing. It snaps right off. Okay. Let me have your name, please,
Michael Anscott,
and your address, Michael.
29 Glenwood Drive, Hop Hog, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay. And that mic needs to be right next
A
to you.
little closer.
All right. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
To have an area variance to reduce the minimum front yardage from 45 feet to 40 feet for a proposed front addition to the foyer. or actually to create a foyer. The way the house is set up now, basically the door opens up and within 2 inches of the stairway to get into the house, so it makes it very difficult getting in and out of the house, and we have no front closet space. The neighbors are very excited about the addition, so I don't see it having any problem with the neighborhood. There's really no other feasible way of kind of creating space in the front without going out that distance. It's not a very substantial distance, the 5 feet. There'll be no adverse effect on the environment, and it wasn't self-created because we have not actually done it yet.
Okay, perfect. Okay, planning?
No comments, thank you.
Gentlemen?
No questions.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Is regularly moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case is 16792, Joseph Tuccarella, 21A Saturn Boulevard, Hauppauge, New York. Location, south side of Saturn Boulevard, 158 feet west of South Plaisted Avenue, Hauppauge. Property zoned R10. Request variance to reduce minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 20 feet for an existing 450 square foot first floor addition. Reduce distance to any lot line from 2 feet to 1 foot for an existing 80 square foot shed. Reduce distance from any lot line from 1 foot to 0 feet for side and rear yard paving. Increase maximum rear yard paving from 25% to 47%.
We're going to have to share. Okay, may I have your name, please?
Joseph Tuccarella,
And your address, Joseph?
21A Saturn Boulevard, Hauppauge, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Do you want to tell us why you're here, please?
I'm here for a variance to reduce my minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 20 feet for an existing extension on my home, and also for a variance to reduce my lot line from 2 feet to 1 feet for an existing shed that I have, and also a variance for increase in maximum rear yard pavers from 25% to 47%. I have town property behind me, so my shed is 1 foot from the fence, but I have no neighbors behind me. I didn't realize that I couldn't put the shed that close to the fence. And as far as the pavers go, there's a whole 4-foot section, 4 foot wide, in the length of the yard. It's not really paved. I put stone down, but they said it constitutes pavers. I just put like little river rocks, to decorate under the shrubs. And in the back, just a small section of the patio goes up to the fence, more like a decorative sweep. But once again, that part of the yard faces the sump.
Okay. Anything? Let me ask you, who built that extension?
I did.
You didn't think for an extension you needed a permit?
I lived in an apartment in Queens my whole life. My mother's still in an apartment in Queens. My brothers are still in apartments in Queens. No. I knew there were, codes, so I had an architect do the drawings and everything, that way it's, as far as everything being safe.
Okay. Planning?
I'd expressed some concern about the paving. However, Mr. Tuccarella indicated that this isn't paving in the normal sense. As I understand it, the town board a long time ago amended the zoning ordinance to reduce paving for a number of reasons, including protecting the groundwater and protecting the suburban character of the town, that in essence, if more than 25% of the town is pavement, I guess was the limit as to the difference between a suburban and an urban location. However, apparently the paving here is more like some form of stones, and that might be better for the groundwater than the normal, for flooding and stuff, and allow more water to soak in where it lands. However, I haven't inspected the site, and I don't know the facts as well as I should. Therefore, I would urge the board to grant the minimum relief necessary.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, any questions?
No question.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
This has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next case is 16,793, Denise Herlihy, 157 Montclair Avenue, St. James, New York. Location, east side of Montclair Avenue, 775 feet north of Rutherford Street, St. James. Property zoned R10S. Request variance to reduce minimum side yard setback from 6 feet to 0 feet for an existing 4-foot-high waterfall. Reduce the distance from side and rear lot lines from 1 foot to 0 foot for pavers. Increase the maximum rear yard paving from 25% to 38%. Increase the maximum floor area ratio of the lot from 25% to 33% for an existing 150 square foot first floor addition.
Okay, may I have your name, please?
Denise Hurley,
And your address, Denise?
157 Montclair Avenue, St. James, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me have your name and address.
Douglas Hines, Stony Brook, New York, Design Development Group,
Spell your last name.
HYNES.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. On behalf of Mrs. Hurley, I'd like to hand up some additional photographs and aerials which demonstrate that the property is located at the dead end of Montclair Avenue. Our neighbor to the north is the public school, the Smithtown West High School. There's an aerial photograph at the bottom of the first page that shows a rather thick, about 100-foot natural screen between that property and ours. As to the waterfall and the pavers, there's a photograph or two on the second page which show the quality of the installation and the screening that exists to the north, the fencing that exists to the east, and the one neighbor that could arguably claim to be affected by those installations. However, they are at grade, they are well hidden by the fence and create no adverse impact or substantial impact on the neighborhood. Same with the side yard paving as shown in the picture at the bottom of page 2. At the top of page 3 is a view of the sunroom addition, which has brought us into the FAR issue. It is a modest extension to the house. In actuality, it only added 1.5% to our FAR. However, it was discovered at the time of this application that a prior application in 1987 for a second-story addition, which obtained a certificate of occupancy, had not been included in the FAR calculation at that time. So we're playing a little catch-up on the FAR. Our addition, as I said, was only 1.5%. In addition, there were two prior variances on the property, one in the early days to the developer to afford him the benefit of a 30-foot rear yard in lieu of the 35 required, which squeezes the property and makes it difficult to devise any reasonable alternatives. And a variance for the pool in 2001 left us 4.7 feet to the fence with little room there for landscaping or for the waterfall. So These are the practical hardships that we've confronted in the situation, and although these conditions are indeed self-created, we respectfully submit that that alone should not be reason to deny our request. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning?
This has a little bit of similarity to the last request, the last application, but it's not as substantial. The second thing I think that I would bring to your attention is the maximum permitted paving in each of the required yards is 25%, but if you look at the other 3 yards, the actual paving that's out there is much lower than the maximum permitted. And I think that, at least in some way, counteracts the substantialness of the request here. The third and last point is that part of the rear yard is a pool, and that's hydraulically separated from the rest of the groundwater. And water that falls on the rainwater, precipitation that falls on the pool normally won't run off the property and create any flooding on an adjacent property.
What is the square footage of this house now? Do you know? Can you tell?
The easiest way to answer the question, actually, is to take 33% of the lot area, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Flynn's mathematical superiority, but I'm seeing a 10,000 square foot lot. We're at 33%, so I believe that creates a 3,300 square foot house.
I think so.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn.
Right. Gentlemen, any questions?
No question.
I just have one thing. Similar to one of the earlier applications this evening, it's this board's practice to, obviously, we can only grant variances on what exists within the 4 corners of the property. The fence and the paving both encroach on the school's property and also the neighbor to the east. So it's obvious that they'd have to bring both of those back onto their property since we can't grant a variance on somebody else's.
Now, I understand that your jurisdiction would stop at the property line. I'm not sure that with the neighbor's consent, we couldn't allow it to stay, although it wouldn't be approved as part of the variance.
Well, not from us.
Okay. I will address that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I didn't pick that up. Good for you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
It's really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case is 16794, Wise Eyes 6 Incorporated, 530 Nesconset Highway, Hauppauge, New York. Location, north side of Nesconset Highway, 150 feet east of Route 111, Hauppauge. Property zoned SCB. Request variance to increase maximum number of wall signs from 1 to 3.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. I've submitted the affidavits of posting and mailing to Tom. If you just take a look for a moment at the photographs or a plan of the signs that we're requesting, it's a unique piece of property because it does front on, if you look at the plan, three roads, actually 2 roads. It comes into a triangular point, 347 and 111. And what we're asking for is a sign on that awning type of mansard roof which, as you can see, just says Wise Eyes, and on the rear of the building, which faces 111, again, these units go from 111, the actual stores go right through, so you can have ingress and egress to the Wise Eye store from the 111 side or the 347 side. Additionally, there's a bagel store right next door, which has a sign on both sides, just as we're requesting, and next to that is a tavern bar, which I believe also has a sign on each entrance. Again, both on 347 and 111. It's kind of a unique piece of property. I'm sure you've all passed it over the years, and we really need that visibility. It's a new store that's going in. It's a franchise, which obviously makes and sells eyeglasses. We don't think it would be a substantial change in the character of the area. The character of the area is business. Whether the applicant can achieve by some other method what we're asking for, we really do need this signage because people go by pretty fast on 111 and certainly on 347. Whether the requested variance is substantial, it's really not. If you look at that whole shopping center, in fact, there's another shopping center or building right in front of this building, and whether it would have any environmental effect, no, it's a sign. If you can look at the photo again, it just says Wise Eyes, and it's not something that's we feel is intrusive. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, we're asking this board for its favorable consideration. We haven't put up the signs. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Planning?
The only thing that I would submit to the board is that the two canvas or whatever it is, vinyl signs that are out there today, in my opinion, bring down the aesthetics of the area. However, I do think that additional signage is warranted and wouldn't necessarily make the shopping center look worse. On the Route 111 side, on the same back of the building, there are 3 other signs. I think if the sign that Wise Eyes wants matched that, it wouldn't be a bad impact. But I think if what's out there today were what was granted and then the other people wanted to match that, I think that would be a disaster. The one facing the Hess station, I'm not sure how that would be secured to the mansard roof. Hopefully it would be done in a way that's appealing. What's out there today, I believe, is a white temporary sign.
But on the front there is, yeah. We went to the site, so.
Right. Is it proposed to match that?
I believe it's the same sign, isn't it?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
good, that's in the front.
And it'll be secured the same way
way.
as the one that exists there.
Are all 3 signs the same size and same
Yes.
configuration?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions, gentlemen?
No question.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Oh, would you like to be heard? Could you, Dave, give him that? I'm sorry. May I have your name and spell your last name, please?
George Taborski, Taborsky.
Okay, and your address, George?
476 Route 11.
All right. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I've just been aware of the request for the extra signs. I live on the on the 111 side. I just want to know if there's, any difference than the other signs that are going to be up there. Is it going to be more illumination at night or anything, or is it going to be kind of existent as the bar and the bagel shop there.
Okay, I'll have him come back in a minute. Is that your only concern?
Yeah, it's a concern.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tramarko?
The question is, how long will it be eliminated every night?
Is it going to be illuminated? Is it going to be?
I think so. Let me check.
Adrian, you could have Rick read back.
What?
You could have Rick read back his testimony.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look like it's self-illuminated. There may be a light shining on it unless David knows differently.
All right.
I don't know.
Does that answer your question? Okay. That's all right. He said if it's just going to be a light shining on it, he's fine with it. All right?
That's what I think.
Okay. Is there anyone else here who'd like to be heard on this application? Right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Lenny moved in second. Right.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Hold it.
Lighting on the sign, or within the sign.
Okay. Did that gentleman?
So we don't misinform.
Come on, excuse me. Shh. Come up, please. Mr. Tramarko, will you repeat that for him, please?
Yeah, the specifications on the sign itself indicate there's LED lighting, so it would be illuminated.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Relly moves in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next case.
Sure. The next case on the agenda was adjourned. That's case 16795, KPE 2 LLC. It was adjourned to November 13th, 2012.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
After that, I'm sorry,
Go
there are
ahead.
two more, right? The next case was adjourned from a prior hearing. It's case 16770, Kelly D'Amato.
well, we're
Three-
not, are you doing that next?
Yeah. Isn't that the order?
No.
Oh, mine, I'm sorry.
No, it isn't.
I
Okay.
thought it was next. The next one
Okay.
is,
All right, I'm going to make a statement, so before we read the next case. I can see that the next case is of high interest to the community. The applicant and the attorney will present their case. Then I will allow everyone one opportunity to be heard. Your remarks must be factual and related to the variances. I know this is a special exception, it's a permitted use, but your remarks must be related to the variances. It doesn't help if everyone repeats the same information. You can agree with everything or disagree. Please state your name and address and place it on the record, saying you agree or disagree. As this board, our decisions are based on 5 criteria they're here for you. It is very important that this hearing is fair and orderly. There will be no calling out, no talking from the audience. There will be no applause or outbursts. Everything must be addressed to this board. Everyone needs to cooperate so this court reporter can hear and record all your statements. I will then ask the applicant to come back and answer your concerns. All right. I thank you for your cooperation and your orderly and professional manner. All right, we will read now the variances, so please realize what the variances are.
Okay, the next case is an adjourned one from a prior hearing. Case 16767, Hess Corporation, 1 Hess Plaza, Woodbridge, New Jersey. Location, southeast corner of Harned Road and Jericho Turnpike, Comac. Property zoned NB. Request, special exception to permit a filling station with an accessory convenience store. Variance of a special exception standard that requires a filling station to be 500 feet from any place of public assembly, 290 feet from a school, and 1,200 feet from any existing filling station. Variance of a special exception standard to reduce buffer from 50 feet to 6 feet. Variance of a special exception standard to increase accessory store from a maximum of 1,000 square feet to 1,231 square feet. Variance of a special exception standard that requires adequate buffer yards. Variance to reduce buffer adjoining residence district from 10 feet to 6 feet. Reduce parking setback from property lines from 6 feet to 0 feet. Reduce truck loading space from 1 to 0. Reduce minimum distance of curb cut to intersection from 75 feet to 50 feet. Reduce minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 36 feet on Jericho Turnpike, and reduce front yard setback from 50 feet to 31 feet on Harned Road. Variance of a special exception standard to eliminate that signage shall comply with the dimensional requirements of Article 10 of Chapter 322-69. To permit a sign not to face a public street. To increase the number of signs from 1 wall or canopy sign to 4. To increase the maximum height of 3 canopy signs from 15 feet to 21 feet. To increase maximum height of an accessory structure, a canopy, from 18 feet to 21 feet. To increase maximum area of ground sign from 32 square feet to 64 square feet. Variance from the requirement of Section 322-87, it says 7, but it must be C7, 82C7 I3C, that the site has been in continuous use as a filling station since January 1st, 1994. Madam Chair, those are all of the requests.
Thank you. Mr.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. Appearing on behalf of the applicant, Hess Corporation, Eugene L. DiNicola, 200 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. At this time, Madam Chairwoman, I am submitting the affidavit of posting and the affidavit of compliance with notification provisions and return receipts to the planning board. On June 27th, 2011, a petition for a change of zone for the subject premises was filed with the town of Smithtown requesting the zoning district of the premises to be changed from a WSI zone to NB, or Neighborhood Business District, for the purpose of constructing a gasoline filling station with a canopy over pump dispenser islands and an accessory convenience store. On October 19, 2011, a public hearing was held before the Planning Board to consider the petition for the change of zone. Following the Planning Board hearing, the Planning Board vote was 4 members voting in favor of recommending the change of zone to NB District. No members of the Planning Board opposed, and 1 member abstained. The letter setting forth the vote was sent to the Town Board on November 21st, 2011, and I will submit a copy to the board in one moment. On February 23rd, 2012, the Town Board, at a public hearing, heard the petition for the change of zone to NB District. The applicant made the Town Board fully aware of its intended development of the site as a gasoline filling station with canopy over pump dispensers, as set forth on the site plan presented this evening, which is to my left, Madam Chairwoman. Pursuant to Resolution Number 2012-307, the town board approved an amendment to the zoning map for the change of zone from the WSI district to NB district of the subject premises, and that resolution is dated March 22nd, 2012. I will submit a copy of that resolution to the board as well. A secret negative declaration was issued on March 22nd, 2012 for the change of zone. At this time, Madam Chairwoman, I will submit a copy of the Planning Board recommendation letter. A copy of the letter from the town clerk accompanying the resolution and the resolution. And a copy of the CEQA negative declaration, determination of non-significance from the Department of Environment and Waterways. And I would like them entered as numbers 1, 2, and 3. One planning board, the town board, town clerk letter, and the resolution. Negative, super negative declaration. Now, the applicant is requesting the special exception and certain variances from the special exception requirements, as well as certain area variances, in order to construct the Hess gasoline filling station with the 6 dispenser islands and the Hess Express convenience store as accessory to the filling station. That is this evening's hearing. I will briefly describe the area within which the site is located. However, it will be more fully described by a real estate expert who will testify following my presentation. The subject site is located at the southeast corner of Jericho Turnpike, also known as New York State Route 25, and Harned Road, hamlet of Comac. Both Jericho Turnpike and Harned Road are well-traveled roadways, and the intersection is controlled by a multi-phase traffic signal system. On the north side of Jericho Turnpike, across from the subject site, is a Friendly's restaurant. Proceeding easterly along the northerly side is a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant, a Dunkin' Donuts, and so forth. To the east of the subject premises on the south side of Jericho Turnpike is a State Farm insurance agent, spare rib restaurant, a swimming pool supply business, Gasoline Heaven Golf Station, Gasoline Heaven convenience store, and so on. To the south of the subject premises is a professional office building. To the west across Harned Road is the Sunken Meadow Parkway. Jericho Turnpike on the both north and south sides is predominantly commercial in development. The subject parcel contains 33,327 square feet of area, or 0.77 acres. It has a frontage on Jericho Turnpike of 125 feet and a frontage on Harned Road of 202.75 feet. It has currently located thereon a closed 2-bay gasoline service station with an office. On the north portion of the premises, which I'm sure the board is familiar with at this location, and a closed 1-story commercial retail building on the south portion. Although the resolution of the town board and the change of zone application contained the following zoning district to be changed to NB, and in the resolution says WSI, PB, which is we thought was approximately south 35 feet, and R15 was the southeast corner. The planning staff on January 6, 2012, advised that, and I quote, although the property was advertised in 3 zoning districts, the entire parcel is in the WSI zone and the zoning map was wrong. A statement should be made to that effect at the public hearing, close quote. And she was referring to the town board hearing held on February 23rd, 2012. Now, the applicant proposes to demolish the improvements existing on the site. that is the closed two-bay gasoline station and the one-story masonry commercial building. Hess will then erect a canopy over 6 gasoline dispenser islands and a Hess Express convenience store. Now, on the site plan, this is the canopy with the 6 islands underneath. This is the location of the convenience store. Right now, the two-bay station is catty corner at this location, and the retail building is roughly, I guess, at this location. The canopy, as I indicated, with the dispenser islands, is going to be located on the northerly portion of the property, and the Hess Express convenience store will be located on the southerly portion of the property. The convenience store and the canopy will have a total FAR of only 13.5%, whereas in the NB district, 50% floor area ratio, or FAR, is permitted. The subject site will contain, when developed, 7,016 square feet of landscape area, or 21% of the site. The site will have 18 parking stalls, 6 of which will be land banked. 12.3 spaces are required by the ordinance. The ITE manual, that's the Institute of Traffic Engineers, recommends 4 spaces for each 1,000 square feet of gross floor area for such convenience store. Since the convenience store is only 1,231 square feet, this could equal 5 spaces as determined by the ITE manual. However, the applicant will be constructing 12 parking spaces, as I have indicated on the site plan to my left. Additionally, there will be 12 fueling positions beneath the canopy. Although the fueling positions cannot be counted toward parking, for all practical purposes, many customers leave their vehicles at the pump dispenser if they enter the store, so there will be 24 spaces available for the consumer. At Jericho Turnpike, there will be 2 curb cuts, a right turn in and a right turn out. There will be 1 curb cut on Haunted Road at the southerly portion, at this point here, setback from the intersection with Jericho Turnpike. This curb cut on the south is going to be a cross access, if you will. It's going to be able to serve the parking lot of the spare rib, which is located on the east, to the east of the subject site. At this point, there's a 50 by 100 parcel of land on which the State Farm Insurance Agency is located, and then there's the spare rib restaurant. This cross access will serve ingress for the service station, for the filling station. It will serve as an access point to the spare rib. It will serve to permit we're going to have a cross-access point here for the State Farm agent for his customers to either exit Harnett Road if they don't want to go out Jericho Turnpike. There will also be a cross-access curb cut for the professional office building to the south if they wish to enter the site. In fact, on the site plan for the professional office building to the south, the planning department required the cross-access curb cut to be installed on their property to enter onto the proposed Hess site. Obviously, the curb cut for the State Farm agent should be extremely beneficial since he would only have the access to Jericho Turnpike. All lighting will be contained on the site, and a new sanitary system will be installed, meeting all current health department standards and requirements. Now, the proposed canopy will be a mansard style with the Hess logo in block letters. I have an exhibit which I assume the board will be able to see, and I'm sure they are familiar with the style that has developed. The mansard roof will be shingled, which will match the roof shingles on the convenience store. The Hess logos will be backlighted with a green hue. There is no glare coming from the backlit letters on the canopy. The lighting on the underside of the canopy will be recessed into the deck. They won't have the bulbs that come down and give off any type of glare. The architecture of the Hess convenience store will be its Hamptons design, and it is to my left at the bottom, with a peaked shingle roof, clapboard siding, which is really a hardy plank, a porch, a cupola. The Hess convenience store will have a total of 1,231 square feet of gross floor area. The building will contain an electrical and utility area, ADA compliant restroom, office, cashier and counter area, sales area, and a cooler area. The sales area will contain 614 square feet of area. As previously stated, the subject property was rezoned by the town board on March 22nd, 2012, from WSI, Wholesale Service Industry, to NB, Neighborhood Business District. In the WSI district, a gasoline filling station is a conditionally permitted use. However, the area permitted for retail sales may not exceed 350 square feet, and the building may not exceed 1,000 square feet if for a new filling station with an accessory convenience store. The applicant is proposing a building of 1,231 square feet, which is only 231 square feet larger than the 1,000 square feet permitted in the WSI zone. The applicant is requesting this area variance so Hess can build its Hampton-style building. The architecture of the proposed building is more in keeping, if you will, with the historic architectural tradition of the town of Smithtown. The sales area within which the proposed building, as I indicated, was 614 square feet, which is only 264 square feet larger than the 350 square feet permitted in the WSI district. Now, aside from those nominal size districts, the point to be made is that a gasoline filling station with a convenience store is a conditionally permitted use on the subject property, whether it's zoned WSI or NB. Traffic safety arguments made in opposition to the applicant's proposed improvements for the NB district are, if you will, without basis, as a gasoline filling station with a convenience store may be developed on the site. A gasoline filling station has existed on a portion of this site that is the front 13,000 square feet, which I am indicating on the site plan, since 1954. A certificate of occupancy was issued March 3rd, 1954, and in February 1970, a certificate of compliance was issued for an alteration to the existing gasoline service station, and I will indicate those certificates of occupancy and certificate of compliance as number 4. Now, some background history. In or about March 2004, Shell Oil Company, the then tenant and operator of the gasoline service station, elected to terminate its occupancy of the site and discontinue its operation as a gasoline filling station. The then owner, a party by the name of Jerkins, Jerkins, sold the property with the gasoline service station to the current owner, Phelan Realty Inc. Again, I am speaking of the northerly 13,000 square feet. One of the conditions of the transaction was that the purchaser shall be allowed, quote, shall be allowed to build a gas station on the premises. This language was contained in documents between the parties in particular the purchase money mortgage between the purchaser and seller, and the language was put in with regard to maintaining hazardous materials on the site. So there had to be an exception for the development of a gasoline station on the site. The new owner, Phelan Realty, in late 2004, which is the same year that Shell discontinued its operation, requested a proposal from Lottie Engineering and Consulting, PC, for the purpose of reopening the gasoline filling station. A proposal was given by Lottie Engineering to Phelan on January 3, 2005, and Phelan hired Lottie to obtain underground fuel storage tank permits. Phelan also consulted Vincent Tramarco Esquire, a land use attorney in the town of Smithtown, regarding any issues with the town of Smithtown to reopen the site as a gasoline filling station. A proposed preliminary layout to redevelop the original gasoline service station site, again I'm referring to the 13,000 square feet, was submitted to the Planning Department, and on May 25, a response from the Planning Department was sent to Lottie Engineering, and I am going to submit a copy of that letter in a second. On January 31 of 2006, a petition for a change of zone of the gasoline service station was filed with the Department of Planning, and I'm going to submit a copy of the filing receipt for the board, and that was, the receipt is addressed to V. Tramarco and Phelan Realty. The matter was heard by the Planning Board at a public hearing on April 5, 2006, case number 2006-01, and it apparently lingered on the Planning Board agenda until September 13, 2007, when the petition was withdrawn. The Planning Board adopted a resolution on September 29, 2007, acknowledging the withdrawal of the petition from the Planning Board agenda, and I will submit a copy of that Planning Board letter resolution, if you will. So, Madam Chairwoman, these are numbers 5, 6, and 7, as I described in my presentation. The owner of the portion of the land with the closed gasoline service station and the owner of the land with the closed retail building negotiated with Hess Corporation to develop a gasoline filling station with a convenience store on the combined parcels. So following the withdrawal of the application for just the northerly 13,000 square feet, two separate owners got together, combined the property, negotiated with Hess to develop a gasoline filling station on both parcels with a convenience store, and on October 4, 2007, filed a petition for a change of zone from NB District with the Planning Department. It was assigned case number 2007-05. The Planning Board heard the petition at a public hearing on December 19, 2007, and voted to recommend denial of the change of zone application pursuant to decision dated July 18, 2008. The vote was 3-2, 3-2 to vote denial. The Town Board following a public hearing on December 18, 2009, pursuant to Resolution 2009-462, voted to deny the change of zone petition, also by a 3-2 vote. The subject premises remained closed from that time until 2011, when interest in the site for a gasoline filling station and convenience store was again renewed. So nothing was able to be developed in that period of time after the initial denial by the town board. Now, a petition for change of zone to NB district was again filed with the town on June 27, 2011, petition number 2011-07, and Hess Corporation was the petitioner. Petition number 2011-07 was heard by the Planning Board on October 19, 2011, which recommended approval of the change of zone petition with 4 votes in favor, no denials, and 1 abstention. The town board, pursuant to resolution 2012-307, following public hearing on February 23, 2012, voted to approve the change of zone by a vote of 3-2. Now, the purpose of this exercise in presenting the history of the efforts of the property owner is to establish his intent to always use the premises as a gasoline filling station, and that he never abandoned the use which existed on the site since 1954, although it had been closed for a substantial period of time. Now, Hess Corporation operates several sites within the town of Smithtown upon which gasoline filling stations with convenience stores are located in business districts. CB District, southwest corner of Indian Head Road and Old Comac Road, Kings Park. CB District, southeast corner, Pulaski Road and Old Comac Road, Kings Park. NB District, New York State Route 111 and New York State Route 347, Smithtown. NB District, southwest corner, New York State Route 347 and Mount Pleasant Road, Hauppauge. Also, on October 30, 2007, zoning petition 2007-02, the applicant was Karen, Karin LP. The town board approved the change of zone from WSI district to NB district for a property located at the northwest corner of Jericho Turnpike and Kings Park Road, Comac. This was to permit the construction of a Hess filling station with canopy over gasoline dispensers and a 1,231 square foot convenience store. With regard to that property, this board, pursuant to case number 15879 on March 11, 2009, approved the special exception to permit the filling station with accessory convenience store in the NB district, and it modified the special exception standards to increase the square footage of the accessory convenience store from 1,000 square feet to 1,231 square feet, reduce the front yard building setback from 50 feet to 35 feet, reduce the rear yard building setback from 50 feet to 40 feet, reduce the canopy setback from 50 feet to 16 feet, reduce buffers to residents from 50 feet to 11 feet, increase the height of the canopy from 18 feet to 19 feet, this was after litigation, increased the ground sign from 32 square feet to 64 square feet, again after litigation, and so on. I'm sure the board has a copy of its decision and can refer to it. The approvals and redevelopment for that site has resulted in a more attractive, efficient, better functioning site than previously existed, which was a gasoline service station with repair bays. That site is approximately 1/2 mile east of the site being considered this evening and is also located in the hamlet of Comac. Also at New York State Route 111 and New York State Route 347, located in the NB district, the board, pursuant to case number 14694, dated March 25, 2005, approved the special exception to permit an accessory convenience store for an existing service station, and further approved variances for the convenience store from 1,000 square feet to 1,231 square feet, reduced the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 5 feet, increased the number of ground signs from 1 to 2. There were 2 ground signs on the property, 132 square foot monument sign, which is at somewhere around the 111 side, and a 64 square foot ground sign at 347, which contains the logo and the pricing. Increased allowable square footage for a ground sign from 32 square feet to 96 square feet. That's the 2 signs combined. One was 32, one was 64, total 96. Same variation of the same variance, if you will. Reduced the front yard setback on Route 111 from 50 feet to 21 feet. Reduced the front yard setback on Smithtown Bypass, which is also known as 347, from 50 feet to 40 feet and 29 feet. increase the height of the canopy from 18 feet to 23 feet. So variances from the special exception provisions have been approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Also, area variances have been approved by this board for the redevelopment of the sites. If you went slightly east to the Gulf Station, Gasoline Heaven Gulf Station, their canopy is set back 25 feet from Jericho Turnpike, and also happens to be adjacent to the school district on the south. It abuts the school district, not the school district, the school on the south. This site is some 290 feet from that place of public assembly. The property is the site of a previously operating gasoline service station with repair bays, which I have indicated several times, operated on approximately 13,000 square feet of area. The subject site being considered by this board this evening is substantially larger, with better ingress and egress, better on-site traffic movements, better interaction with adjoining properties, and much better in appearance, architecturally and landscape-wise. It certainly will clean up this corner. The use proposed must be located, obviously, on a major arterial highway or intersection. That's where you put gasoline filling stations. The proposed use will serve the needs of the community and the general public for gasoline purchases and convenience items, which are primarily purchased by customers who are at the site to purchase gasoline. The gasoline dispensers are equipped with card readers, so customers using credit cards do not even have to enter the convenience store to pay for their gasoline purchase if they choose not to. As we all know, Hess does not perform auto repairs, and obviously none will be conducted on the site. Hess is known for a clean, neat operation. The site is large and more than adequate for the proposed development. Gasoline filling stations are not destination points. They pick up pass-by traffic, that is traffic which is already in the traffic stream and which will enter and exit the site. As we all know, people do not go to filling stations, at least not since 1940 or something like that. They combine purchase of gasoline with another trip, such as going to the store, going to and from work, etc. Further, people do not shop in convenience stores. It is the purchase of an item which may be needed at the moment or desired at the moment, an item of convenience. A very brief period is spent in the convenience store. Now, the subject property has been in its current closed, rundown, or blighted, unattractive condition for a substantial period of time, perhaps 8 years, and I think the town has put this site on its list of blighted sites, if I am not correct. A prior application by Hess in 2007 was disapproved, and the property has remained the same, boarded up and unattractive since that time, and there have been no takers. The proposed development by Hess will be a vast improvement. It will be a neatly maintained property providing a service and product for the local community and the town at large. It will provide a stable real estate tax base for the town for many years to come. And not only will it generate higher real estate taxes, it will generate sales tax revenue. The redevelopment of the site will generate approximately 30 jobs during construction and approximately 10 jobs if and when the site is opened. The site will be operated by Hess Corporation directly. It will not be a franchise operation. The proposed house development will enhance this area with its substantial investment in the site. At this time, Madam Chairman, I would like to call a real estate expert to submit testimony, if I may. Mr. Robert Marks. Mr. Marks, will you please give your name, address, and profession to the board?
Yeah, he needs the mic.
Oh.
My name is Robert Marks. I'm a consultant with Goodman Marks Associates at 170 Old Country Road, Mineola, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, let's see if we can use 2 mics so we can go back and forth.
Thank you very much.
Will that work?
Mr. Marks, do you have qualifications that I may submit to the board?
I do.
Madam Chairwoman, the qualifications of Mr. Marks.
Thank you.
Mr. Marks, did you make a personal inspection of the site and surrounding area at my request?
I did.
Can you please describe the area and submit to the board the merits of this application?
Yes, sir. You've heard from Mr. DiNicola about the area, but I will briefly describe it. The property, again, is located on the southeast corner of Harned Road and Jericho Turnpike in Comac. It is directly east of a northbound off-ramp of the Sunken Meadow State Parkway. Directly south on the east side of Harned Road is a professional office building. South and east of that building are residences. To the west is the Sunken Meadow State Parkway, and across Jericho Turnpike are a couple of restaurants and a vacant state parcel, Friendly's and Chuck E. Cheese restaurant, a florist, a Dunkin' Donuts, a law office, and beyond that to the north is a townhouse development, Country Point. Along the south side of Jericho Turnpike, to the east of the subject property, there is an insurance office, the Spare Rib Restaurant, a pool store, the Gulf Gasoline Heaven, our Lodge Gulf Convenience Store, an office building, a Jiffy Lube, and the Mayfair Shopping Center. As you all know, the Jericho Turnpike is an overwhelmingly commercial in development. The proposed site is in the NB zone and will not have any repair bays. At this point, I'd like to offer as a single exhibit 18 photos taken by me personally These photos were taken by me within the last month, and they accurately depict the subject property and the surrounding area.
Okay.
Included in these photos are photos of the subject property, the cross easement that you heard Mr. DiNicola refer to, which benefits the Spare Rib, the insurance office, and the professional building to the south. Also included are photos of other properties in the area and views to the southwest, north, and east from the subject property. There are also photos of the Gulf Station, the Gasoline Heaven and Convenience Store, the Hess Station at Lockfield Road and Kings Park Road, and a station at Beechwood Lane. Mr. DiNicola has discussed with you previous decisions of the board, the BZA, concerning Hess stations. On September 24th, 2003, application 13884 for the southeast corner of Pulaski Road and Old Comac Road in Kings Park. On March 11th, 2009, application 15879, the northwest corner of Jericho Turnpike and Route 347 in Comac. On May 25th, 2005, application 14694 for the northeast corner of Route 111 and Route 347 Smithtown. And again, on September 24th, 2003, application 13898 for the southwest corner of Indian Head Road and Meadow Road in Kings Park. These applications and approvals approved a special exception to modify or permit a filling station by adding an accessory convenience store and a canopy. Applications 14694 and 15879 also approved a 1,231 square foot accessory convenience store, increasing the size above the maximum 1,000 square foot allowed. The proposed use that we have here, as you see on the board, is in harmony with and promotes the general purposes and intent of the ordinance, in that it has been a gasoline filling station since 1954, and the applicant is modernizing the facilities and demolishing the existing buildings. In my opinion, there will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The plot area at 33,327 square feet is sufficient, appropriate, and adequate for the use of the modernized gasoline filling station and accessory convenience store. The proposed use will not prevent the orderly and reasonable use of adjacent properties, and in my opinion will not adversely affect the value of adjacent and nearby property values, as it has been a compatible use since 1954. The use is a permitted use by virtue of it being in the ordinance as a special exception. The site on two major roadways is particularly suitable for the proposed use. It has adequate fire protection, water supply, sewage disposal, access to property, drainage, and is compatible with nearby land uses. The town of Smithtown has declared a negative CEQA declaration dated March 22, 2012, stating, and I quote, "The proposal does not appear to significantly threaten any unique or highly valuable environmental or cultural resources." And it goes on to say, "The small size and nature of the proposal, i.e. an adaptive reuse of a currently developed parcel of land with an approximately 70% reduction in gross floor area of on-site buildings, mitigate against the significant adverse effect upon the environment." Now, going to the various variances, as to Chapter 322-82C, number 7A, the site is not located within 500 feet of a place of public assembly. The school is accessible only through Jericho Turnpike, through Walter Court and Azalea Court, and is over 1,000 feet away from the subject property by street access. The school, by the way, however, is directly behind the Gulf Gas Haven station on Jericho Turnpike. The subject is ideally suited on the southeast corner of two major roadways with dual access and egress, and is within 1,200 feet of the Gulf Station and adjacent convenience store, which has access only from Jericho Turnpike. As we've said, Jericho Turnpike is a major arterial highway, and competition and additional services offer choice and are good for the community. According to the Planning Advisory Report just issued on October 3rd, 2012, the existing special exception appears to be lawfully nonconforming regarding the standards and distances. Going to items 3, 6, and 8 on your list of variances, which are Chapter 322-20C, Chapter 322-82C, subsection 7D, and 322-94G, subsection 9. This refers to a 6-foot setback at the rear southeast corner of the property. At this corner of the property, only a point is adjacent to the residential area that is used under the R43 zone. This is also part of a cross easement providing almost a 50-foot buffer to the properties to the south and east. This area has considerable fencing and landscaping. The spare rib parking lot, which is in the R43 zone, which this abuts, is a commercial use which has been in effect for many years. This is at the rear of the spare rib property. So the subject property only at a point is adjacent to the R43 zone that is actually residentially used. Now for Chapter 322-82C 7H, the signage, in my opinion, has no adverse effect on the community and allows greater visibility from Harned Road, Indian Head Road, and Jericho Turnpike. Some of the previously mentioned applications provided for increased signage as much as up to 96 feet. There is a 64-square-foot ground sign at Jericho Turnpike and Kings Park Road. That is a Hess station. And there is a 96 square feet of signage approved at the Hess station and Route 111 and Route 347. Now, number 9 on your list of variances has to do with Chapter 322, 94G9. These are the exact same variances cited in numbers 3 and 8 on the variance list, and I've already gone over that 6-foot setback. Chapter 32282C 713D. The board has previously approved Hess to build 1,231 square foot buildings with convenience stores at Jericho Turnpike and Kings Park Road under approval 15879, and at Route 111 and Route 347, application 14694. This is only 231 square feet larger than the ordinance provides and allows. This Hess Hamptons buildings, if you've driven by some of the existing buildings, is attractive in its architectural appearance. The convenience store sales area is only 614 square feet, which is only 264 square feet larger than the permitted 350 square feet, or 0.08% of this entire site. This increase in building and sales area is not significant and has no negative impact on the surrounding area. The building of 1,231 square feet on a site of 33,327 square feet measures only 3.7% of the site. The convenience sales area is only 1.8% of the site. The balance of the building contains a utility area, restroom, office, cashier, counter, and cooler. This building has no basement. The Gulf Gasoline Heaven Station to the east has a 2,500 square foot convenience store with a 1,960 square foot basement. The proposed building of 1,231 square feet and convenience sales area of 614 square feet does not triple the special exception as stated in the current planning department letter. Again, a 1,000 square foot building with 350 square feet of convenience store would be allowed. The existing buildings to be demolished on the site have a 1,321 square foot filling station and a 2,679 square foot commercial building. So 4,000 square feet of building will be demolished for a mod functional 1,231 square foot building. This is a 70% reduction in building area on the site. The convenience store is an accessory and necessary use to the gas station. This size building with convenience store has already been approved by the BZA elsewhere. As to item number 9 on the denial application, Chapter 32265A. This variance is adjacent to a WSI zone occupied by the insurance office to the east of us. In my opinion, there is no adverse effect on that property by having only a 6-foot buffer. Item number 12, 322-9B. The canopy setbacks on Jericho Turnpike, the board requires 50 feet. We're asking for 36 feet. And on Haunted Road, the denial letter was for 50 feet to 31 feet, but the map actually shows that it's 32 feet 6 inches from the road, not 31. In application and approval 14694 on Route 111, the board approved a setback to 21 feet. On application 15879 on Jericho Turnpike and Kings Park Road, the canopy was approved to a 16-foot setback. And this provides for greater visibility from the street and better on-site circulation. The Gasoline Heaven plans from April 30th, 1982, reduced the front yard setback to 25 feet. And their pricing sign is right on the street. Item number 13, Chapter 322, number 9B. The canopy height from 18 feet to 21 feet. Again, application 15879, Jericho Turnpike and Kings Park Road, approved it from 18 feet to 19 feet. And application 14694 approved the canopy to 23 feet. The proposed height matches the aesthetic of the building, and actually the height of the canopy is 20 feet 4 7/8 inches, which is a de minimis increase. Numbers 15, 16, and 17 on the denial letter, and number 14, having to do with 32269A and 69C1. The ground sign, according to law, must be prominently displayed, and this will be 32 feet of logo area and 32 feet of pricing area. Now, items again 15, 16, and 17 on the denial letter. There are proposed 3 logo signs on a canopy at the east, west, and north sides and of the canopy, and 1 sign on the convenience store stating the Hess Express. These are logo signs. They provide a safety factor and are for marketing. Name and pricing signs avoids unnecessary on-off-site traffic, and they provide clear recognition. In my opinion, there is no adverse effect or impact on the neighborhood from these signs. There are adequate buffer yards, fencing, and screening to prevent or to protect adjacent properties. Again, there is over 325 feet of street frontage. In my opinion, the granting of these variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, nor will it produce a detriment to the value of nearby properties. The benefits sought by the applicant to build a modern gasoline service station with accessory convenience store cannot be achieved by an alternative method because only the BZA can grant the requested special exceptions and variances from the zoning ordinances. The requested variances are not substantial because the site has been a gasoline filling station with repair bays for many years. Similar variances as requested have been approved by the BZA as previously noted. The proposed variances will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood as a filling station has existed and by decision of the negative declaration by the Town Director of Environment and Waterways. Thank you for your patience.
Before you leave, you have submitted pictures to us. For you to have these pictures submitted, you must write the case number on each picture, when these pictures were taken, and who they were taken by.
Well, I've stated that I took them, but I would be happy to fill that out.
I need you to label every one, and then you can give it back to us. Thank you very much.
Do you have any other questions of Mr. Marks?
Do you have any questions right now?
I just had a quick question for you. Your area of expertise in real estate?
I have been a real estate appraiser for over 52 years, since 1960. I have appraised properties and consulted with properties on zoning, for mortgage purposes, for estate purposes, in 40 to 45 states, and throughout Nassau, Suffolk County, and the New York region.
I only asked because you pretty much reiterated what Mr. Ginnicolda said, and you didn't say anything about appraisals.
I have been an appraiser and have had an office known as Goodman Marks since, well, I've been doing this since 1960. There was a predecessor firm that I was with, and I've been with the same firm since 1960. We renamed it in about 1972, 73. And it still bears the name Goodman Marks.
Okay, I believe you. I didn't hear anything that had anything to do with an appraisal.
Well, his testimony went to Town Law 267B3, and he's a real estate expert with regard to the requirements of Town Law 267B3. I'm going to ask Mr. Marks another question. Mr. Marks, have you testified before other town boards, boards of zoning appeals? And if so, could you tell which town boards, which boards of zoning appeals, planning boards, and roughly how many times you have done so?
many hundreds of times, and in my qualifications on page 3, it lists all of the towns, including New York City, all of the villages throughout Nassau and Suffolk, and approximately all 3 towns in Nassau County, the 2 cities in Nassau County, and approximately 5 towns in Suffolk County, and I've been accepted as an expert witness in all of them. I've also testified before the Supreme Court of the State of New York and the Bankruptcy Court in many hearings and in tax certiorari hearings.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. DiNicola, do you have, how many more experts do you have?
Two more.
Ex- Right.
If I may,
They're not going to go over the same things that have been...
no, these experts will be two different. Well, Mr. Marks, in his testimony as an expert, had to touch on some of the issues which I presented to the board as
Okay.
a part of his testimony and his expert testimony.
Okay. We need to take a break for a minute. We need to change the tapes. You need to take 5 minutes? Okay. We need to take a break.